So I work with Philippe on genetic testing and its consequences on health insurance market. But here I'm not going to present this research agenda. I rather want to focus on the supply side and more precisely to focus on physicians' incentive to use personalized medicine. So my co-authors are Samuel and Kambo Nzale and Bruno Ventoux from Marseille University. And so Samuel is the experiment guy, and Bruno the econometrician. So I don't know what I'm doing here.
They were not available.
Yes, for sure. I am the third best. But in fact, I had the main part of the idea of the experiment. So obviously here I'm not. I can skip the definition of personalized medicine. At the top of that, you can find a lot of different definitions, and even the term between precision medicine or personalized medicine. In fact, I guess I didn't want to annoy Marie-Louise and Philippe, but I guess precision medicine is a better term. But, so I follow personalized medicine here. It implies providing patients to determine treatments or medical interventions according to their best predicted response. So clearly, what is the advantage of personalized medicine information? It allows the physician to achieve a better match between therapeutic choice and patients. In particular, not exclusively, but personalized medicine uses genetic tests in the process of diagnosis and treatment. What we observe with Philippe and we're talking with David too, it's that we still observe very low take-up rates of genetic test in practice, and we believe it's a pity in the sense that it will implement a better match between a patient and treatment, and it will so reduce health expenditure and also adverse consequences of treatment. But even what is observed in the medical discipline is that even when personalized medicine information is available, physicians tend to underuse it. Okay, so sometimes they don't have a costly access to personalized medicine, but they don't use it. We mentioned several reasons for that. First, because it's an ongoing technology with a lot of quick improvement, we still have uncertainty about personalized medicine. We don't know what will be the outcome in 10 or 20 years. Obviously, each time that we are talking about adoption of new technology, it's time demanding for physicians, and to do a good update, it creates an opportunity cost. And when we were talking with physicians specialized in personalized medicine, they always claim that payment schemes usually do not provide right incentives to use personalized medicine. So here in this article, we are going to focus on the interplay between the two last issues. We assume away the uncertainty dimension, and we are going to focus on the update and the associated opportunity cost, and the payment, the incentives of different payment schemes. So here, the objective of this research is clearly to explore how physicians' payment schemes affect their incentive to use personalized medicine techniques, and in which extent personalized medicine benefit patients. Since we are talking about new technology, few data available. So, but we want to work on data, so we are going to create that. We are doing. We did an experiment. And in our experiment, we try to replicate the basic physician trade-off. On the one hand, the update is time demanding, so there is an opportunity cost associated. And on the other hand, it allows physicians to be more efficient. And this efficiency can be or to be quicker when they treat patients, or to obtain better outcomes. Regarding the related literature, we basically borrow from three strands of literature that we try to contribute. First, all the literature dealing with incentives in physician payments. So from McGuire to Mark, with Bernard Fortin papers, dealing with how different physician payment schemes generate different incentives. I have the impression that the consensus about this literature is that financial incentives matter, obviously, but not only. You have some altruism components that it's important, or intrinsic motivation that it is important to take into account. Second, and it's more medical-oriented literature, all the literature that focus on decisions to adopt personalized medicine techniques. And to summarize, I guess the consensus is that we underuse personalized medicine, even if it is free for the moment. And finally, we use all the insights from experiments in health economics, especially in three aspects that I'm going to mention. But maybe one important concern about experiments in health economics, as I said at the beginning, it was not a joke. I'm not a specialist in experiments. The subject pool matters. So what is the implication? If you want to do an experiment to understand how physicians would behave, you have to have on board almost people, participants who are almost physicians. So what we did here, we use prospective physicians. Okay, so they were almost physicians just 1 year before being physicians. When you do an experiment in health design in health economics, you have two choices between or chosen effort task, where it's totally declarative about what people would do, and after you approximate with a cost function, or you can do some you can ask for real effort task, what we did here. So to me it's more intuitive. I don't like declarative issues, but you can find in health economics both types of experiments. And finally, a third aspect about experiments, but it's not only in health economics, if you give the framing or not. We didn't, for a very simple reason, is that when you give the framing, you are if we would have said, okay, it's about personalized medicine, you introduce some heterogeneity that you cannot control later on. In fact, you don't know, you don't observe the background of people, so it's better to. So we didn't give the context to avoid this issue. But again, you can find experiments that give the Our experiment design is clearly very directly inspired by the article of Green in Jibo, in the sense that, like Ellen Green, we have two actors, a downstream principal, the patient, which we are going to call subject 1, who highlights words that he thinks are wrong in the text, in Green's experiment, and the agent, subject 2, the physician, who provides proofreading assistance. So it's a two-step game with first step highlight and second step proofreading. What Ellen Green did is to study incentives properties of traditional physician payment schemes using a real effort task. So we are close, but what are the difference? It's version 2 of this the same experiment. First, we had the personalized medicine dimension to understand how it's interplay with payment schemes, and to do that, in step 1, we have real subjects in a very passive role. In fact, we give some text. It was in bold, and we asked people to highlight in yellow. Why did we do that? Because our concern is step 2, but we couldn't cheat. So we had to have subject 1 on board to avoid some lines. And in step 2, so subject 2 behaves as a physician, and they provide proofreading assistance on different texts. Now, how do we introduce personalized medicine? We introduce the concept of priority sentencing. So we have, you will see, I will show you how it was in practice. We are going we gave some text, and when the personalized medicine was available, the text was underlined. So the subject 2, physicians, could say, okay, I'm going to focus on the paragraph which is underlined because I know that it is important for the patient. So more different way, only corrections done in priority sentences are taken into consideration to compute gains for subject 1. Now, we have different periods in the game. In fact, we have 2 treatments. What I'm calling treatment, it's a payment scheme, and 3 periods for each treatment. So in each period, each subject, physicians, can proofread up to 8 dictations. So it's like a physician who can receive 8 patients. So it gives in total 24 treatments. And as I said, they participate to 2 treatments. So more precisely, each physician face a payment for performance scheme and or fee for service or capitation. Okay, so it creates a within design for the experiment, and it's important for the econometrics that we did later. So in period 1, we gave 8 dictations. I repeat, 1 dictation is equivalent to 1 patient, and without showing priority sentences. So in this case, in period 1, there is no personalized medicine on board. Okay. In period 2, we gave 8 dictations presented with priority sentences underlined. Okay, but so in this case, in period 2, personalized medicine was free, and in period 3, the subject physicians had 1 minute to decide if they wanted to buy personalized medicine. So it's the opportunity cost that we are introducing here. Or if they prefer to treat all the 8 dictations without this information of personalized medicine. So let me show you how it was in doing the experiment. So here it's a proofreading in period 1. As you can see, so in the first subject 1, they had to highlight in yellow some words which were in bold, okay? And people, subject 2, physicians, they had to make some corrections on these words, okay? Sometimes it was wrong, sometimes it was correct, so we can, even physicians could do more corrections than necessary. In period 2, the first paragraph is the priority sentence. Okay, so it means that you can do your correction everywhere, here or here, but only the corrections in priority sentences will be taken into account to compute gains for subject 1. Okay? And in period 3 of the game, subject took 1 minute to make a choice between something similar to period 1 or something similar to period 2. Okay, so and you pay a cost to obtain this information of priority sentence. Now, the different payment schemes that we study in this experiment, which are our treatment, so fee for service. In this case, subjects 2 were paid for each intervention, whatever its quality. So it's like it's how fee for service works in practice. You don't care about the outcome. You are paid because you are doing something. Capitation payment, so payment per proofreading. You receive a sum for each patient, so in our experiment for each dictation, and payment for performance, where so the payment is based on the quality of the intervention, and here the subject 2 received €2.50 if 80% of the words in priority sentences were correct, okay, and 0 otherwise. And regarding the cost of personalized medicine, it was €0.50 in deduced from final gains for each patient. No, in fact, I was just doing the correspondence between our experimental setting and what we aim to capture in real life. So, for instance, when you have priority, when you don't have priority sentences, it's like a physician who doesn't have any particular information, and he has to analyze all the symptoms. When you have in period 2, when you give some these priority sentences, so it's like when you say to a physician, well, you can focus on the subset of symptoms because the rest is does not matter. It's less important. And here it's when it's costly for physicians to update themselves, so they have to pay an opportunity cost to benefit from this personalized medicine information. So now that I presented some the design of the experiment, let me give a reformulation of our objectives. So first, how do the different payment schemes affect the decision to adopt personalized medicine? And second, what is the impact of personalized medicine on physicians' outcome variables? So by physicians' outcome variable, we mean the impact on the rate of useless actions. I mean, how many corrections out of priority sentences, okay, when they have this information, and the impact on the rate of well-treated patients when they do the proofreading. So here, one trouble when you do some proofreading experiments is that with the millennials, they are very bad at doing that. It's, their writing skills are pretty low. And so, in fact, at the very beginning, we just wanted to focus on this well-treated patients. But when we saw the results, we said, okay, we are also going to take into account the good intentions, because by good intentions, I mean when they did the correction in the right place in priority sentences, because really they have a lot of quality, but they were not so good at doing the corrections. And it was a proofreading of some of them. It was a primary school, and they were almost physicians.
Where do they live? Where do they live? I don't want to.
Nice and Aix and Marseille. No, but they have, I'm confident that they will be doctors, and but they're not very good at writing. Regarding our identification strategy, so since we have within design, because each physician faces two payment schemes, payment for performance plus fee for service, or payment for performance plus capitation payment. So we are able to construct a panel linear model. And when access to information is costly, we have to take into account the potential endogeneity. Some variables that we do not observe that can motivate the decision to buy this. So we did instrumental variable profit model that I will show you in the next slide. So here, the first one, the personalized medicine is free. So here we are in our dependent variable. We are going to have several variables of well-treated patients, or the focus on priority sentences. So there is a constant, a fixed effect. Here it's categorical variable of payment scheme, so with a fee for service, capitation payment, and payment for performance, and the beta is a vector associated. Here we have its a dummy variable. So in period 1, you don't have personalized medicine information, it's 0. In period 2, you have this information, so it's equal to 1. Here it's the coefficient associated to the payment scheme, okay, and why I did sorry. No, sorry. Here we constructed interaction variable between payment scheme and the information. Here we have some individual characteristics. So how they perform in secondary school, gender, and their writing skills, but it was declared. And when the access to personalized medicine was costly, so we did it in 2 steps. In the first step, it's to to find the probability to that they will buy. They bought a personalized medicine, so it depends on a constant on the payment scheme. And techno, I will show you in one slide what is it. It will be our instrument, the instrumental variable, and the individual characteristics. Okay. And next, what we did to tackle the endogeneity issue, it's instead of putting the result of what we observe, we introduce the predicted probability within this equation. Here, the idea is not to put directly this probability, but the predicted probability to control for the endogeneity. And so techno is our instrumental variable here, because there is a statistically significant relation between appetite for innovative technologies. So we ask to people if they were reluctant to use new technologies, or on the contrary, if they like them, and their decision to invest in personalized medicine. And on the other hand, there is no techno, there is no influence on the dependent variable. So we did a Fisher test, and the IV model is more consistent than the OLS. When so we are confident that it was our instrumental variable was good enough to tackle this endogeneity. So it's a table about the Haussmann testing. Now let me show you some results. How many? First, the decision to buy personalized medicine and different payment schemes. So here we have P4P, fee-for-service, and capitation payment. So clearly, at first glance, you can see that it's not the decision to buy personalized medicine depends on the payment scheme used, especially people were more willing to buy personalized medicine under P4P. Okay. So here it's how the decision to invest in the information of priority sentences. So clearly, we always take P4P as a reference, and here clearly there is no big difference between P4P and capitation payment, because in fact in both cases it's like a capitation payment plus some incentives according to the outcome. But when with a fee-for-service, clearly it's not the right payment scheme to give incentives to doctors to buy personalized medicine. And here you can see with techno, so it was correlated with this decision. So it's just the summary of the previous table. There is no independence between the payment mechanism and the decision to buy personalized medicine. Obviously, it was we expected P4P is more likely, compared to fee-for-service and capitation payment, to be associated with the purchase decision of personalized medicine. And it seems that there is a correlation between techno, the appetite for innovation, and personalized. So it's a random effect panel linear. So it's the impact of free information now and payment mechanism on the rate of interventions outside of priority sentences. So useless corrections. Okay. And what you can see here is that people did a lot of actions outside priority sentences when they were paid by fee for service, as expected. And there is no strong differences between capitation payment again and payment for performance. When in period 2 we introduced this personalized medicine information, so it in both cases it decreases the number of interventions outside priority sentences. And here, in fact, what we can observe, it was stronger for fee for service. So here, it's interesting when you give freely the information of personalized medicine to doctors who are paid by fee for service, they tend to reduce the number of useless interventions. Okay, so here it's a good signal that beyond financial incentives, you have some altruism, because they were not obliged to reduce the number of interventions. They were losing money when they did that, but they decided to apply to do less interventions because they benefited from personalized medicine information. So here it's well, we change the dependent variable. It's the rate of well-treated dictations. So you can observe that again it decreases with fee for service. Fee for service is not a good payment scheme for patients. There is no big difference between capitation payment again and P4P. And here, what is interesting is that the information didn't play any role. Okay, so but what will be interesting in 2 slides is that when people buy the personalized medicine information, this result will change. So I guess in terms of policy recommendations, maybe there is an idea that could be taken into. So now, to summarize what we can grab from these results, when personalized medicine is free, about the rate of well-treated reading. So when you give a free access to personalized medicine, it decreases the rate of useless actions, so interventions done in non-priority sentences. The interaction between free personalized medicine and payment mechanism is higher in the case of fee for service. And we guess it's interesting. Probably it's because under a fee for service payment, they did more useless interventions before benefiting from this information. So when they received this information, they had more margin to reduce the number of useless interventions. Free access to personalized medicine is not associated with the rate of well-treated dictations, but as I said, it's also because they are not very good at writing. And here, we would have expected that the interaction between P4P and free access would have been significant, and it is not. What will be interesting later on is that it is significant when personalized medicine is costly. Here, it's the impact now of costly information. So when we are in period 3, and payment mechanism on the rate of interventions outside of priority sentences. And here, obviously, you can see that, as usual, FFS is not a good payment scheme. When capitation payment, there is no significant difference with P4P. When people bought this information of personalized medicine, they decreases the rate of interventions, of useless interventions. And regarding the interaction variable, we can see that people who bought this information under fee for service, they reduce importantly the number of useless interventions. So here, beyond, since we pretend that we control the endogeneity, here we interpret this result as a commitment device. If you took the decision to buy this information, is to do it well. Okay, so it's we believe it's maybe for policy recommendations. If we policymakers has two options: to subsidize or to give freely this information. Maybe it's better to subsidize, to introduce some commitment device from physicians. Yes. I have a charging system.
So, okay. Sorry, I don't know the slides on my one.
Philippe?
Ça, c'est le... Okay, so this is the one. The next one.
Okay. And here, so it was the rate of well-treated patients, and you can find that before in the previous table, when personalized medicine information was free, there is no effect, and now you have an effect. So again, this result, it's once we control for the endogeneity, we interpret this result as a commitment device. So if I buy the information, I will try to use it correctly. Yes. So here, just a summary. Giving a costly access to personalized medicine information decreases the rate of useless actions. Regarding the interaction between costly information and payment scheme is higher under fee for service to reduce the rate of useless actions, but it's because the rate of useless actions was very high before, so they had a more margin to decrease it. And the costly access to personalized medicine seems to be associated with a positive impact on the rate of well-treated patients. And when we compare this situation with free access of personalized medicine, there is a strong difference between both results. So now, just some message to take away. So compare it to fee for service and capitation payment. Obviously, but it was as expected, P4P scheme is an important driver in the decision to adopt personalized medicine. And but it's not efficient in transforming this information in benefit to patients when this information is free. When it's costly, it's positively associated to quality in both variables of quality, rate of well-treated patients and decreasing rate of useless corrections. And maybe our interpretation of this result is a commitment device effect. that when you decide to buy this information, you are, once we control by the endogeneity, the selection and effect, we are people want to use it properly for their patient. So here, it's what we believe it can be important in terms of policy design to subsidize, but to introduce some cost or to obtain these tools of personalized medicine to introduce this commitment device. I'm done. Thank you. Thank you, Marie-Louise.